Okay, Paul here, not in Chiang Mai, in Dublin. So I'm back in Ireland for a visit. Bit of a different mise en scène to what I'm usually doing in Chiang Mai. But hey, yeah, it's a nice little change. Nice to be back in Ireland. So, yeah, vlog on Manchester United's 2-0 win over Ajax in the Europa League final in Stockholm last night, which also has the added bonus of taking United to the Champions League. So this final really was for United was much more about the Champions League qualification than the symbolic winning of the big vase. There was all this talk of United completing the set and making history now because they've won all of the European trophies, but I find that a bit bemusing and oxymoronic because it goes without saying that they've never won it because they've always been too good to be in the Europa League. It's like saying, you know, a team like United have never won the championship, hypothetically, because they've been relegated. But I don't really see that having any significance that they've never won the Europa League before. Anyway, that's that rant over. So, in terms of the game, just a global overview was that United's experience and physicality was just simply too much for the young and vibrant and vigorous Ajax team. So, there's a lot of hype and expectation around this Ajax team that they may be able to revive the spirit of the 70s and the 90s, and that they'll be able to take this great Dutch team back to the pinnacle of European football, or at least to become a Champions League regular again. But they really flattered to deceive on the night and were shown to be just simply way too young. I mean, most of them don't even have any facial hair. It was like looking like the under 21s. I think all the subs who came on were 20 years old, and there was just a real lack of nous and know-how and grit and experience in that team. And it was a complete mismatch. That being said, ironically, you know, Ajax were the team that played much better football in the final third. They had some really nice, intricate play, particularly with Ziyech linking up with Chelsea lonely Traore. But they just didn't take any shots. Traore, incidentally, who, you know, kind of reminds me of Lukaku. He's big, physical, strong, good at holding up the ball, but he's just so predominantly left-footed that you know, he's still very technically limited. It's a bit embarrassing for a professional footballer like him to be basically physically unable to take a shot on his right foot. So there's a lot to work on with a lot of those young players. They're still very raw and far from the finished articles. So into the game itself, and yeah, United, you know, basically just set up shop to sit back and let Ajax come onto them and try to hit them on the break. They were playing mid to long balls over onto Rashford and Fellaini, which, you know, okay, United got the job done. They won the game 2-0. They've got the trophy and Ajax don't. But all the same, it was a little bit unbecoming of a club like United to play, you know, so defensively and so tactically against such a young team like Ajax. With the, you know, quality at their disposal, look at the midfield, like Pogba, Mata, Mkhitaryan. Neither of those latter two even got on the ball. I'd say Mata had about 10 touches in the whole match. Mkhitaryan had that great run around winter when he came back. He finally got into the team. But although he did score the goal last night, the crucial goal, I feel like he can do a lot more. Pogba had a kind of a tactical influence in the game insofar as he broke up play. And I mean, some of the Ajax players were hopping off him. Pogba was just so strong. He's a physical specimen. But in terms of playing on the ball, he gave it away a lot of times and played his long balls over to Rashford far too heavily. So, yeah, onto the game then, right. Yeah, United took the lead through the most expensive player in the world, Paulo Pogba, on the 18-minute mark. Ajax really played right into United's hands and, you know, could be credited with an assist here rather than Fellaini because they had a throw in, and instead of playing it long along the line, they came inside. It was intercepted by Antonio Valencia, I think, who played in Fellaini, who rolled the ball to Pogba. Pogba's ball took a wicked deflection. It's hard to be sure or conclusive about it, but I think from one angle it looks like it's not even going in, so it could potentially or hypothetically have been an OG for Sanchez. The young Colombian centre half is an interesting player. He likes to get on the ball, but the problem is he's not very good on the ball. He was very sketchy and edgy last night. He had one moment a real hairy moment where he almost let Rashford in for what would have been a very comic goal. But actually, in the second half, he grew in confidence and he grew in influence in the game. Otherwise, then Ajax did grow into the first half and they started to link the play in the final third, but Smalling, Darmian and Blind were just like really strong. They were like blocks there. Valencia as well, just big physical players who just was like thou shalt not pass. They were allowing Ajax to get into the second third, but then once they tried to make that final pass, there was always a man there. Smalling was really good. And the whole United defensive line was. So it was very much a victory for defensive football by United. They were a much better team on the night in terms of tactics, but in terms of play, just to reiterate, I think Ajax showed the more intricate and neat and sharp football. And then into the second half, as I said, United just took the lead right after the break through Mkhitaryan, who showed a nice bit of ingenuity to get a flick with his back to goal. But at this point, like, Twitter sort of burst into an eruption of laughter at Ajax, but I found that a little bit exaggerated. Look, United's goals were both a bit fortuitous, and although they did score them clinically at the right times, I mean, there was a moment at the end where Ajax nearly pulled one back. Yes, United did look comfortable most of the time, but they could have done more, I think, to be a bit more comprehensive and emphatic about it. As I said, I just think United really should be doing, players like Pogba and Mata should be linking a lot more. All of Pogba's assists this season have come with Zlatan, and it looks like he's completely off the wavelength with players like Rashford. He barely got a single pass to Rashford. Him and Mkhitaryan barely link up. Yeah, it's a bit of a mess, the midfield there. They won this Europa League thanks to their defensive solidity. Ajax, some of the players that stood out for me, Ziyech, I thought was good, a little bit lightweight and needs to bulk up a bit and he'll need a few more years. Traore was good, but needs to shoot a bit more. He needs to take shots. He had a really good chance, two of which in the first half. Had he shot, he could have scored, but he wanted to get onto his left so much that the chance went to begging. So yeah, by the end it became a bit of a joke with these 20-year-olds coming off the bench with no facial hair, and just United were just bossing them off the ball. Herrera was, just smashing into them and intercepting all of their play. So yeah, United, Europa League champions, and they're into the Champions League now after a 3-year exodus. They haven't been in it since that year with Van Gaal. And it's great to see a heavyweight like United back in the big time. Mourinho was calling this a treble in his interview afterwards. So he's calling the Community Shield a trophy and the League Cup and Europa League. It's the biggest tin pot treble ever. I mean, it's not exactly an emulation of the '99 heroics, is it? They came 6th in the league, booted out of the FA Cup, and weren't even in the Champions League. So yeah, I can't believe he actually said that with a straight face, that he's counting this as a treble because he's won a treble with Porto and Inter. But hey, that's Mourinho for you. He likes to be to stroke his ego and be a bit provocative like that. So thanks very much for watching this YouTube vlog on United's Europa League triumph. Please do subscribe to the channel for obviously this football season is basically over. I'll have the Champions League final vlog on Real Juventus, and after that it'll be on to the more cultural stuff, the motorbike stuff when I'm back in Chiang Mai. So thanks very much. Hasta luego.